Hi, everyone. Thanks for joining us. And let me start by apologizing once again. We were supposed to start this program by 2 o'clock, and then suddenly we went on air. The networks, three networks at the same time, just went off. All the networks, you know yourselves. I don't want to call your names, but today una show una self, sha. Anyway, they finally came back, and we're using one of them, and it's a good thing that we're back. Okay, so today is the Tuesday's edition of Shagalinku TV. It comes your way every Saturdays and Tuesdays, 2 p.m. West African time. Today we'll still be continuing from where we stopped in the 16 days of activism. We started a series on Saturday, a few days back, and we started with what is gender-based violence and what do you know about gender-based violence and how can we stop it. Today we're continuing from there, like I said, and I have my guest here. Her name is Lady Chioma B. Kanu. She's the ED of Mothers and Marginalized Advocacy Center, Abuja, Nigeria, and she'll be lending her voice to an aspect of the gender-based violence that a lot of people don't talk about. Though we're looking at does women empowerment help in reducing or increasing gender-based violence, and we're going to look at a few things around that area. So the comment section is open. Please drop your comments as we go on, and we'll be reading them. If you have questions for our guests, please do send it in the comment section, and she'll be responding to all of them. Yeah, good evening, Lady Choma.
Yeah, hello, good evening, Emmanuel, good evening, listeners. Shagalinku, I'm happy to be in your midst today. Yeah, we've been planning and planning, and it never got to work out, but I'm happy that finally we are here, regardless of all the internet challenges. Yes, I'm very, very glad to be here. My name is Chioma Kanu, as I've already been introduced, and I work as the Executive Director for Mothers and Marginalized Advocacy Center in Abuja. We are a female led organization that also focuses on women's issues, girls' issues, and children's issues. We work to alleviate socioeconomic issues for women. We also we advocate for educational rights for the girls. And then, of course, we are staunchly advocating for the sexual and reproductive health and rights of both girls and women in our organization. And this actually places me, or rather, places the 16 days of activism right there at the top of our agenda as Mama Center. So it would actually gladden my heart to lend my voice to the narrative and the discourse that has actually been going on for some days right now.
You're welcome, Ma. Okay, so let's even start from the beginning. Before the network went off earlier on when we were talking, I did ask you that a lot of times we see challenges from the home front, and then women who earn higher than their husbands, and then issues of women empowerment. You know, sometimes you talk with women who go through gender-based violence, and they tell you wahala started when she got a bigger job or she got a bigger pay and all that. And you said something very, very important, that there are a whole lot of other very significant factors about gender-based violence, that economic factor is not really the major one. Take us through what you meant by that, ma.
So, well, it's a good thing that you've already started talking about gender based violence. But let me, just for the sake of those who never keyed in from the onset, to just define it a little bit. Gender based violence is a violence that, you know, happens on a person based on their gender, because you're a he or you're a she. All right, that is the kind of violence that we classify as gender based violence. The acts that constitute gender based violence include sexual violations, physical violations, domestic violations, harmful traditional practices such as female genital mutilation, economic violation, discrimination against people living with HIV, AIDS, disabilities, leprosy, and so on. We also have stigmatization. There's also what we know as workplace violation, where a lady can never rise above a certain level in an office or in an organization, or she can never, even if she gets to rise to that level, she never gets to earn as much as her male counterparts are earning. So we also have violations in school. I know there was a time it was bandied around. In fact, not bandied around, it was actually a documentary by BBC radio. So they talked about, they interviewed some people and did some video of university students who were requested to what it was tagged sex for grades. Okay, so most of us that pass through universities must have actually experienced these things in one way or another. Okay, so yeah, there are all those issues around gender-based violence. So we also, when you're looking at gender-based violence, you also should be thinking of the drivers. What are the things that fuel gender-based violence? And we look at the negative social cultural norms. You see, we look at the status of women. I think that is where people talk about economic quartile and everything. We also look at inequalities. We look at harmful practices, culture of silence, that those that have been violated will not even want to come out clearly to say, oh, I have been violated this way or that way, just because of the stigmatization or the taboo and the shame that can come out of it. Of course, we are looking at low educational standard or status, as well as low economic status as the violators of or rather the things that constitute gender-based violence. So now, to go into the answer to the question whether women empowerment could help in reducing or actually increasing gender-based violence, I think we have to understand one thing. Gender-based violence can actually happen to anybody. It does not matter your socioeconomic status, actually. It doesn't even matter your age, your physical attributes, whether you're fine or you're ugly, or you are physically incapacitated or you're whole. It doesn't matter your tribe, your religion, or the way you dress. It does not matter. Okay, it can happen to anybody, and it could happen even in the home front, where the husband is the one that is violating the child, or the wife is being violated by her husband. You see cousins that come to your house to spend holidays, they violate the children, whether sexually or psychologically. All manner of abuses can come out of just a few minutes or a few days spent by one evil cousin, uncle, and so on. Okay, so, but then again, since our focus is mostly on the economic value that could come out of someone, a woman that actually has been empowered financially, for instance, my answer goes both ways. All right, to some extent, to a very small extent, actually, economic empowerment can actually help, a woman. It helps you because you're not dependent on anybody to take decisions about your life, all right, or even the life of the children that are directly under you. If you have children, whether you are living with your husband or not, you can make that decision, especially if you are economically empowered and educationally empowered. You will be able to make the decision for your girl child, or generally all your children, to actually go through university, because you have the money. You're not depending on any man to foot the bill for your child's school fees and all that. And then since you've also been to school, you understand the importance of a child going to school, because you are actually a beneficiary of that. So yes, to that extent, yes, economic empowerment is always very, very helpful. Okay, so we can't say, okay, because the man may not like the woman to be the one that is the breadwinner in the home, while the man is just well, sitting dormantly and not bringing anything to the table. And based on that, he would want to say no to the wife being the one that is the breadwinner, that's economically empowered and can transfer aggression to such a woman at any time, and also make her life miserable, from beating to psychological attacks in every way possible. We've heard of such cases where a woman has been beaten because she earns more money than the man, and the man is insecure. He feels that the woman now wants to take his position as the man of the house. Okay, so he opposes her in every manner of ways, possible. So, but then again, there are some men that are understanding that, in fact, in other climes where you have you find that some men actually the stay at home dads, where the women are the ones that are working. Yeah, it happens in other climes. I'm not saying that those climes are devoid of gender-based violence. No, but at least certain things they've reached to that level where they understand that this kind of thing can happen. Unfortunately, in our own soil, if it's happening, it's seen as even a taboo. How can you've become a woman rapper? How can it be that your wife is now the man of the house, providing for you, and in fact making all the decisions in your home? They tag you, they label you woman rapper, and because you don't want to answer that kind of thing, you now fight your wife regardless of whether she is doing the right thing or not. You fight her off, which we seriously do not want to happen in our environment, in our clients. So yeah, I've practically said my mind. I say no, that so many research have actually proven that empowering women doesn't even help to decrease gender-based violence. In fact, from all the researches I've gone through on the internet, immediately I got to know that I'm going to come on this program. There's hardly, not in our country, not outside the country, did they say that economic empowerment helps to curb gender-based violence.
Mm.
However, if you want to actually tackle gender-based violence, there are so many issues you need to actually bring on board. Okay, it's not just one. Economic empowerment is one of them. All right, you need to actually tackle inequalities. It is one very big problem in our climate. In fact, globally, which is even recognized under the SDGs Goal 5, Target 2, it is recognized. You know, we need to fight to reduce inequalities. We need to start from the home front. As a woman is giving birth, she needs to start training her male children and her female children equally, as in there's no stereotyping. You, because you are a girl, you have to be washing plates. You, because you are a man, you are free to go and be playing football. We need to deconstruct that narrative and start bringing up new generation of children that actually understand, that if you're a lady, if you're a guy, it doesn't matter your gender. you know Work is for everybody, school is for everybody, food is for everybody. We all partake in all these things as far as we are in this family and in this society. That is actually where this training has to come from. Then we should also try and educate ourselves on this issue of gender-based violence. I know that there are still some doubting Thomases out there that are still wondering if there's even actually any gender-based violence, and actually claiming that women are just making trouble all over the place, looking for what to say that men have done to them. But whether you like it or not, gender-based violence exists. It exists, is recognized by the United Nations. It is recognized even under our own very soil. We have laws like the Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act that actually are meant for, and the penal code, of course, the criminal code, even the Child's Right Act, they are all meant to curb, gender-based violence in their own little ways. All right. So we cannot just sweep it under the carpet that this thing exists. Then again, other issues that we need to also look at critically is the culture of silence. Or most of the time, the people that have been abused are not willing to come forth, to talk about it. Why? Because you become stigmatized. As in, you're passing across the street on the road, people are pointing at you. That's the girl that was raped. Nobody wants that kind of stigma. Or some people want to marry you, they will be cornered, and your neighbors will go and tell them, don't even go near that girl. Oh. They don't rape her. She no pure again, no touch her. Okay. So when you look at all these things, and then even the way they would vilify the victim herself, and make the person look as if, okay, it's because of what you did. You underdressed. That is why one man raped you. In fact, I have been in situations where people are trying to analyze this issue of dressing and being raped. Okay. And one woman actually pointed out something. In these days where babies of 5 months old are being raped by their fathers, by their uncles, so if you say that a lady, a girl, underdressed, wore mini skirt and all that, and was raped, what would you now say that the baby of 5 months old did? What kind of dressing? Is it the pampers that she wore that made the man, that triggered the man and made her look sexy enough for the man to want to rape her? So those are the things we need to start, bringing forward so that we tackle all these issues. Then we also need to utilize platforms such as Shagalinku television, other social media platforms to speak out on this issue. I love what Shagalinku is doing today. It's very, very important. And I love that it has actually been following up on gender-based violence since inception, since 25th of this month. Okay, so which is very, very laudable. And I actually I applaud them and wish that other groups can actually join in. Let there be so many voices on this issue. That is the only time people will begin to recognize the fact that we know that this thing exists. And then we will now begin to look at other ways to find a way to curb this thing holistically. I also feel that another thing we can actually do is also to support victims of gender-based violence. Instead of vilifying them, stigmatizing them, if you see anybody that has actually been violated in any way whatsoever, support is the best thing that you can do for the person. Do not stigmatize, do not antagonize, do not gossip them. Okay, you don't need to make their matters worse. You need to bring them closer and look for how you can help them. So those are the things we feel are necessary if we actually want to reduce gender-based violence. But if we want to just focus on economic empowerment, it is all good. I love when women are economically empowered. I am a beneficiary of such economic empowerment. As a young girl in secondary school, I had a dad that had already retired, from active service. He was a civil servant. So at the time that I was writing my WAEC exam, the man couldn't even support me. Okay, he had already trained my siblings that were ahead of me. So I was the next one. But what saved me, or what saved the day, was that my mother had something doing. So she provided that support I needed. And did it help me? Absolutely. It helped me. It made me to get a good education and get to where I am today. But did it stop me from having gender-based violence trailing me? No way, it didn't. As I'm moving about, I'm getting this feeling. I'm educated. I want to believe that I'm economically empowered as well. but every now and then I face gender-based violence. And I believe if the truth were to be told, every lady listening to me would have recognized one form or another of gender-based violence in their place of work, in their homes, even around them, even if it is just sexist talks, from people around us. That is not good enough, okay, which we should actually try to address instead of tackling just one aspect of gender-based violence. Thank you so much for listening.
Thank you very much, Madam Chioma. It's it's a very good one that you just delved in and really dealt with it. We'll take a few messages now, and I'm sure this one will gladden you. The one on the screen right now. Could you read?
Right. Okay, hold on. Well done, Chioma Kanu. Keep up the good work. Shagalinku, we are proud of you. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Nura Maji. Oh, it's Nura. Thank you.
I know that will shock you.
I didn't know I had Nura in the audience. Mm.
Yeah. Okay, so let's take a few more response here. Some people sent when we had the other link. This one is from let me see. This one is from Maruf Mohammed, and it says it is not working. Despite all the empowerment programs by UN, by the federal government, by states and local governments, nothing has changed as far as the womanhood journey is concerned. Um, to abuse free society is concerned, which means the problem is not attack from the source. Okay, and then Daniel Akoji Mill says it will help in reducing GBV only if women are being empowered to play their role in the society, economic, political, and environmental areas, which is always believed they are meant only for men. And then I'll take one more so that you can respond. This is from Matthias Idris. It says, in my opinion, I think empowering women would lead to the decrease of GBV because if she's empowered, a lot of those things that cause the violence will reduce. Madam Choma, what do you have to say about these? Any of the
Yeah,
comments you could repeat?
actually, all three comments, in one way or another, actually touched on some of the things I earlier said. Initially, I pointed out that research has actually shown that only economic empowerment cannot cut it when you want to reduce gender-based violence, and that in some climes, that if you empower a woman economically alone, that it might even trigger negative effects.
Aggravate.
Yes, yes, exactly. So based on that, we want to look at all the other ways, of curbing gender-based violence, including, of course, economic empowerment. It's just one of them, and we cannot take one and leave the rest out of it. So I like what the other person said about empowering women, social, in fact, all round social political
All right.
empowerment. Yes, I love that. It will actually go a long way if that balance exists. That where a man can go to, a woman can also go there without being torn apart or torn down by even relatives and friends, let alone people that don't even know her. We are not supported, to come out, for instance, to come out to vie for elections. You find that even your immediate family members are the ones that will just tell you to not even go there. Oh. They won't even support you. All right. Let alone people you don't know. Aha. So if women can actually get that empowerment, I'm talking about women and girls. You talk about education for the girl child. There are some places where you find that it's the boys that they train in school, and the girls they keep aside. They just, once they are done with primary school or up to secondary school, no more education for that girl child. Why? Because they feel that very soon she's going to get married, and when she gets married, I mean, she answers another man's name. And based on that, there's no need to waste their money, their resources, training that girl child. They would rather train the male child. Okay, so we need to also get to that level where we start addressing all these issues holistically, you know. And also, I'd already mentioned the culture of silence. Those people that have been abused also need to find courage within themselves to actually do the needful, to come out clearly and talk about their, I mean, the kind of abuse that they have actually passed through, and also seek redress. There are so many platforms now in Nigeria, you know, where they can actually go to report gender-based violence, okay, which we can, let us even keep it warm, because it seems some of them are getting cold, like some of the government establishments, you know, because people are not even coming to report. So, I mean, what do you want them to be doing? So, but then again, as I said, the culture of silence needs to be broken, so that people will begin to come out and know that if my sister that was abused could speak out, I mean, I can also speak out, and something can actually be done on my behalf. I said earlier that we have laws. Violence Against Persons Prohibition Act is there to protect us, there for us to tap into. It is a law that even has sanctions for violators, for offenders, which most of us should actually delve into. Then I also want to implore you, if you have cases of violence, gender-based violence, and you do not know where to report to, through Shagalinku television, you can actually talk to us at Mothers and Marginalized Advocacy Center, Mama Center. We have some lawyers that do these things on pro bono basis. Even in Kano State, we have someone that is actually working and representing us, that has actually taken a lot of cases on gender-based violence, that we would love to, you know, introduce such people to. Do not be afraid to talk about what has happened to you. And also know that you're not alone. You're not the only one that has been abused. Many of us have actually passed through one form of abuse or another. Okay? That we are all working, you know, straight faced and bold, is because we have found peace. Maybe it never was resolved, as in we never went to complain, you know, coming from, you know, that silence that we have been actually hammering on, the culture of silence. But then again, we have found peace within ourselves, and time actually has also healed some of these things for some of us. So, but you do not have to pass through this silently. You can come forth and talk about your issues, the challenges you're having, the gender-based violence that you know, have actually passed through. Let us begin to see ways of addressing these issues. We do not want people that have been abused and violated to flood our streets, you know, because when we have such people, you will see a pretty girl walking down the road, you will think, oh wow, this is one beautiful girl. You take the girl, keep in your home, and you've opened up a can of worms because of the kind of things, psychological effect that she passed through over the years. So when she starts acting, you do not know where those things are coming from. But that is the effect of gender-based violence, which we don't want to have a whole lot of in our society. Thank you.
Thank you very much. In case you just joined us, the program is Shagalinku. This is the Tuesdays edition, and I'm having a conversation with my guest, Lady Chioma Kanu, the Executive Director of Mothers and Marginalized Advocacy Center here in Nigeria, Abuja precisely. And we're looking at a whole lot, especially as it pans out on gender-based violence. Please share the video, and if you have questions for our guests, the comment section is there. Do click and drop your comments, and our guests will respond to them. And if you have anything to say, not just questions for our guests, but if you have anything pertaining to gender based violence, please do share with us, and let's rub minds together. And just to also say that the video, we're streaming live on three destinations. We're streaming live on Shagalinku TV on YouTube. We're streaming live on Shagalinku TV on Facebook. And we're streaming live on my personal handle, Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari. And so the videos will also be here after the program for some of our viewers who are from other climes where time zone is always different. We have viewers from Asia, from US, and other places, and the videos will be here for their comments, and it's an ongoing conversation. And if there is anywhere we stop, and along the way, and we see some questions for our guests, we might just bring her to do a part two to mop up some of the questions that you'll be asking. So please do go on and drop your comments, and we'll be here to read all of them. Okay, let me take some here on the phone, and then I'll ask Lady Chioma to respond. This one particularly is from Fatima Ahmed, and she says, poverty and lack of education have proven to be contributing factor of sexual and gender-based violence. Women and children are mostly affected by GBV. And this is so because unequal power relationships and gender norms are factors that lead to GBV. By empowering a woman, you have successfully made her strong and independent, and this will make her a strong and enlightened woman. Thank you so much, Fatima Ahmed. Now, let me even bring my guests back. I needed to talk about something. There's something very important that you mentioned in the course of your interview with us, and that's how people need to come out. Now, how are we going to address the issue of stigma? Because a lot of times, more women just die in silence because they just feel, and like you even said, that even from the home front, the stigma even starts from there. The stigma also starts even from the street. So a woman gets violated or she's a victim, and while she's still trying to summon courage to do all that, she's hearing in the news how people are being, and then the media also is not helping matters. They show the faces of these victims when they should be protected, at least for that time being. And then you hear issues like, she's a girl, she's a teenager. If this gets out, she may not get married anymore. When someone comes to ask for her hand in marriage, so many issues just come up. So, how do we begin to build the mind of women or victims to speak out, irrespective of what happens? Because from speaking out, psychologically, they are also healing. So, when they bottle up these things, like you say, a man will see a fine lady and then brings her home. He doesn't know that she's been a victim of gender-based violence. So how do we begin to encourage women to take that right step of even speaking out or even reaching out to organizations like yours for that psychotherapy deals?
Okay, thank you so much, Emmanuel. In fact, this is a very, very critical question. You know, we cannot, you know, run away from it. Um, what some people do sometimes is actually to go all out, to go to look out for like places. If you see somebody that looks like a mad person, who might not actually be mad as in crazy, but maybe has been violated and the thing, is touching the person. We pick such people, bring them for counseling so that they can actually come down a little bit and be able to talk about, what has actually happened in their lives, and then if it is something that we feel can actually be tackled, if the person involved, the person in question can actually be traced, we can trace and, of course, seek redress on behalf of the person. The fact is, whether we like it or not, we need to open up on this issue. We cannot afford to bottle things up and just be carrying this heavy burden and be acting based on the burden that is so heavy and is weighing us down. The sooner we get to learn how to open up, the better for us. And then for those that would want to stigmatize such people, what we do as an organization is to, from time to time, we get women from informal sector to come to gather, and then we enlighten them on GBV, which is why I mentioned earlier that there's a need for that one of the ways that we can curb or reduce gender-based violence is by educating ourselves on gender-based violence. Okay, and then as you're educating yourself, you are educating people around you, making them understand what gender-based violence is all about, making them know that it is not okay if they see somebody that has actually passed through GBV and start stigmatizing the person, making them to know that they need to support, such a person, instead of criticizing, antagonizing, vilifying someone that has actually passed through a whole lot. So yes, we bring all these things on board, and then we hope that with social media and many people using their blogs to speak out on this issue. I love that the UN has actually gone a way forward to actually extend from 25th of November to 16 days later on, advocating, talking about these issues, and many people are actually following suit. I know that on Facebook for some years now, I've been seeing 16 days of activism. It is very, very important. While we are sharing Orange the World and all the hashtags, we should also educate ourselves, get enlightened on this issue, so that if somebody approaches us, on to enlighten them a little bit about gender-based violence, we would actually have something to tell the person. Okay, so I love the campaign, but we need to also get educated. As you are getting educated, you need to educate others. I think with that, the stigma and the fear of being stigmatized will be reduced. And actually, if you make people know that you as a person have passed through this thing, it makes the person more comfortable to approach you, to talk to you, instead of hiding your own and looking at the other person as if, oh, she's the one with all the problems in this world. So come all out, talk about your own issues. Everybody is being abused one way or another. So talk about your own violence, the one that you have faced, to the next person. It will draw them out. The other time, Mama Center went to a secondary school in Abuja to do that enlightenment for young children. Initially, when we started, we were asking them if you have any stories to tell us on gender-based violence, the way you have been violated, or your neighbors or people. Nobody came out. It was until we started sharing our own, stories. That was when these girls, in fact, one of them after the event came to whisper into my ears what she has been passing through. Okay, so when you open up, people will feel that kindred spirit with you and actually feel, okay, you will not laugh at them, you won't stigmatize them, you've been through what they are going through, so they are more comfortable to talk to you. So I think we need to open up, we need to break that silence, talk about these things. If we need to even name and shame, let us go all out. Okay, because we are trying to protect the society from abused, psychologically abused people that will be like an offshoot of this GBV, which we don't want to be happening. We want a peaceful society. We don't want people that have passed through torture or torturous experiences that will want to transfer aggression on the next person, and victimize, and it will just become a vicious circle and keep going on and on and on.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. Yes, if you're still joining us, please do share the video, drop your comments as well, and we'll read them. If you can't drop it on the comment section here on the page, either Facebook or YouTube, depending on where you're watching us from, you can also send us a text message or a WhatsApp on this number on the screen. And once it gets to us, we will read it. Sometimes some people like sending us inbox messages because it's more confidential for them, and that's why we provided that SMS and WhatsApp line. So just do send us a message even while the program is on. We could always link you to our guests. We could always look for quick support for you. Like Madam Choma said, don't die in silence. It's not worth it. So if you're watching us right now, do share the video to your friends as well so that they can be part of the program. Lady Choma, there's another message here that I'd like you to read if you can see it. It's from Mark Johnson.
Yeah, Mark says some men get jealous when makes their wife makes more money than them, which is something that leads to violence in a home. In such situation, what can be done to avoid conflict in the home? Well, Mark Johnson, thank you so much for the comment. Would you would We can't say because the man is violent because the woman makes more money, let her not make more money. It's never the solution. The only solution, the only thing I think that can actually happen is this awareness to be created. I know that in homes, in African homes, in Nigerian homes, we we uh, we normally get our extended families involved when we have family issues. So if you feel that as a woman, that because you are making a little more money than your husband and he's transferring aggression on you, and he's feeling insecure, he feels that you've taken his role as the man of the house, why don't you find someone that you know that he listens to and confide in that person, so that the person can come in and step in and actually talk to the man, explain to the man that what is happening is actually to his advantage, not to his disadvantage. I mean, for goodness sake, my people, you cannot allow one man to suffer and kill himself for the entire family if the woman can even has the ability to, to bring in money in the family. It makes the weight of taking care of the homestead and the children, the education, the feeding, everything, it reduces on the man. So he needs to understand that it's actually a help that God has provided for him, not somebody that he has to fight, and beat and finish because she's bringing something. Okay, then there's also a need for some kind of counseling. We also need to find out how the woman is actually behaving in her home, with a lot of resources in her hands. Because sometimes, I dare say, we might want to, when we see a little money, we might want to take it upon ourselves and want to damn everybody around us. So the woman also needs to be counseled as well on how not to, through her actions, offend the man. Okay, so we need to strike that balance so that everybody will work in line. We have one goal, and that goal is to curb gender based violence. And if both the men and the women are actually falling in line, then we will have very minimal gender based violence. Okay, I love when a woman is economically empowered. It gives her a voice, it makes her strong, it makes her to take decisions. And where a woman that is economically empowered, it translates into her children's lives. Okay, so it is not just her now, it is about her family, her children. Everybody is a beneficiary if a woman is empowered. So it is very, very important, if we have women around us that are economically empowered, to also encourage the men to accept this and give her that room, to take decisions, certain decisions that affect the home. Okay, so that everything will work out peacefully and there won't be any violence that will occur just because she's earning more than the man.
Okay. I think I like that fact that you talked about also we checking the women from the home front too, because one of the reasons why a lot of men don't also want to empower their wives or their the women figure in the home. So let's not just even restrict to just spouses, because you still find in homes where, for instance, this inheritance now, if the inheritance is being kept for the male sibling, rather than also help the younger sisters or even elder sisters, he's also looking at it from the angle that this one is a woman, not even a sister now. And then if he empowers her, she goes on to become rude, and like you say, she wants to step on everyone's toes. So I really like this fact where you are also bringing to the table both sides, because a lot of, yes, we know some men are insecure, but then um I mean, we've read a lot of stories about Nigerian men who take village girls, bring them to London or US, take them to nursing school, and then they start earning more than their husbands in London or in US, and then before the man says one, they've said 20, and we've seen instances where these men kill such women. We're not asking that it's right, but we're also, I really like the fact that you're also telling women that, look, oh, that you earn higher than the man doesn't mean it should get into your head, because come on, they're all partners in progress. That you're even earning higher, it should be a thing of joy for the home. The kids will live better. They know that what mommy can't bring, daddy is there to bring. What daddy can't bring, mommy is there. So it's really a very fine one. And so we really need to wrap up now, because time is going. It's so wonderful each time we talk with you, because time just flies. But I know we'll have time to do maybe a part two. But let's also look at the girl child as we wrap up. A lot of mistakes that our grandmothers, our mothers have made, how can we begin to correct that mistakes from our girl child education? And I'm happy what mama is doing, around and all that. And you talked about how you guys went to secondary schools to also talk to young girls. So how do we begin to build the mindset of the girl child? Because in Africa, many girl child are being trained or groomed to be housewives, be good mothers. They're not groomed to live their potentials, be a human being, be that director in an office. And I'm happy you are an ED, you are like a role model to others. How do we begin to catch these girls from small?
Okay, so if you want to talk about catching the young girls, the girl child early, so that she begins to understand, that she has a bigger role to play in the society than maybe the tiny one that is seemingly available for her to play. It actually starts with the parents. I know, of course, you also need to talk to the girls, but then again, you start with the mothers. Mothers are the ones that groom our children, right? So you need to talk to the mothers like the way we do at Mama Center. We bring women on board, and then we speak to the women on diverse issues. Okay, gender-based violence, quite all right, yes. Then economic empowerment, yes. We encourage them to find something to do with themselves, so that where a man cannot help, they as women can also come, to assist. We have that. Then we also talk to them about their relationship with their children, that you do not train where like if you're a woman and you have all four boys, what do you want to do with your boys? Will you work and work and work and die while your small boys play football? They can't wash plates, they cannot cook, they cannot clean anything. So it starts from the home front. The mothers, the fathers need to have a different mindset and try to bring up their children, equally. As in, you are a boy, you are a girl, it is your right to clean. In the home, you can clean. It's not only the girl that should do the cleaning. And it's not only the boys that should have recreation and run out and be playing football when the mother and the girl child are cooking in the kitchen. You as a mother, you need to bring that boy back home. I've on several occasions had to, tell some mothers thank you for the way they brought up their male children, because as I always say, they are bringing up children that are going to be useful to some girls in the future. Yeah, because they are training them in a normal way. You're a human being. They train them like humans. You have your hands. Use your hands to do these things. It mustn't be a girl child that must do the cleaning, wash toilets in the home. And then the boy plays and goes to school. No, all the children that are in the home front are partakers of this whole, house chores. And of course, all the good things that come out of it, like the education. If there's everybody needs to go to school, everybody also needs to play, because it's all part of the development of the children. Then the girl child on her own part also needs, constant reminder that she can do, that she is not limited, and that she should not allow anybody to diminish her in any way whatsoever. And that whatever, she sets her mind on, she can actually achieve it. And that she can be the best that she can. Okay, so constantly we need to remind them in the school guidance and counselor teachers are there to help us to do that. Then the mothers also need to bring their children closer, no matter the kind of upbringing you had as a mother. You need to make your girl child understand that she too is a partaker in your home, that she too is just equally as important as the male child. Then in terms of will, for instance, parents do their wills. If as a parent you do not include your girl child in your will, then you have actually done a major disservice to that girl child. I know there are some cultures that actually don't bother about the female children, because as you rightly pointed out, they tell you that tomorrow that girl answers another person's name. So there's no need wasting our resources on her, giving her money. She's under a man's care. But do you know that if you empower your girl child, financially, and she gets into a home, there's a little bit of respect for her. They don't see her like the give me, give me, give me, give me. They know that she came with some substance, that she can actually support herself, with what you have bequeathed her as a parent. So it is very, very important that we take good care of our girl children. They are actually our treasures that we shouldn't play with. In recent times, parents are beginning to realize that in their old age, it's usually the girl children, the girls, the ladies, that take care of them in their old age, while the men don't really care so much. So the narrative, whether we like it or not, is gradually beginning to change. Okay, and I cannot wait to see it blossom, because I'm beginning to feel it. Many women, elderly women, grandparents that I see and I talk to will tell you it is their female children that they are depending on.
Thank you very much. We're wrapping up now. I will still call you back to do a 30 seconds final word. But this is from Nura Iromaji, a second time or a third time. He says, in fact, education is the best thing we can give to the girl child. Well said, Nura. Well said, Nura. Now, Lady Chioma, as you use 30 seconds to wrap up, I know the next question I will ask you is a different, it will take us another one episode, but I think maybe we might bring you back to talk about this. But in 1 minute, as we wrap up, what is the role of men in terms of gender-based violence? Because they have a strong role to also play in this. I mean, women don't rape themselves, women don't marginalize themselves. There's always one man somewhere who does all that. So as you wrap up, what is the role of men, or what can we just plead to men to also be sensitive enough to the plight of women? Because you find men who are even educated still have this notion that they can't send their female children to school because she will go and be with another person and answer Mrs. And it's strange, So finally, as we wrap up, what do you have to say?
So I actually would want to appeal to our men out there. Um, whatever we do as women, we still need you. Okay, we cannot walk alone. Okay, so while we are trying to make our girl children, empower them with knowledge, you also need to know better as a male, as the father. In fact, most of the time, the girl child looks up to her father than the male child. I've seen many homes where the girl child is the sweetheart for the dad. Actually, was my father's baby, growing up. Yes. So, and he actually took care of me the best way possible. All right. So, I would actually want to see men giving their daughters that confidence, because I got a whole lot of it from my father, making me feel that I'm okay, like I can do all things. I should not limit myself. I should not be diminished because I'm female. You know, I got a lot of that from my dad, and it actually did help me and position me where I find myself today. And I would actually crave the indulgence of men, fathers, to treat their girl children the same way they would treat their male children. Empower them, give them knowledge, bring them close, teach them what you know. Okay? Let them come out so that when they see men outside, they wouldn't even be intimidated, being that, I mean, their own father, they've seen it all from their father. So they don't get intimidated by men around them, and they also know that their father, who, as we always say, the stronger person in the home, is behind them staunchly. You want that kind of assurance if you are a child. You want to know that your father is supporting you. You have the love of your father, you have the love of your mother. It actually goes a long way to creating, a balanced mind, in every adult, growing up. So yes, we actually need that to happen, and we need our fathers to be our champions in this fight against gender-based violence. They need to be carried on board. They also need to be engaged. We need to sit down with them and talk about this issue, how they can actually go a long way to support this issue of elimination of gender-based violence, and how they could actually lend their voices, and how they could, I mean, you said it that some men are actually the ones that actually go about raping their daughters. I got to know of a family where it was their dad that disvirgins the children, and he told them this lie from the pit of hell, that in their culture it's usually the father that sets the tone for his children, that these virgins, the girl children, that's the way it is in their home. So they accepted this as a norm, you know, all their lives, until this issue of gender-based violence and sexual-based violence now started coming up, and they realized that it has been incest that was going on in their homes. So fathers, whether it is psychological effects, trauma, or mental health issues that is going on with you, you just need to open up. Also, if you have any kind of issues, that is actually making you to behave abnormally with your children, so that you can seek help and be the pillar of support that that girl in your home, that girl child, actually needs, you know, to grow. Thank you so much.
Thank you. So, any words of greetings to anyone? Words of felicitation, words of vote of thanks to anyone? You are free. You have 30
Yeah,
seconds.
so I would like to use this my 30 seconds to thank all our listeners, everybody that has made comments in the comment section. It is really an honor to be among those that lend their voice to this issue of eliminating gender-based violence. Shagalinku Television, you have actually done so well. We also call on more of you, people like you, online, traditional media, social media, to all join together, as well as civil society groups. Okay, we are calling on all of you to join, lend your voice to this issue of elimination of gender-based violence or violence against women. It is very, very crucial. When there are more voices advocating for one singular issue, there is a whole lot of results that can come out of it. Thank you, everybody, for listening. And please continue to tune into Shagalinku Television. I think they have actually made my day today, and I will never, never miss any episode. I'm already following them on Facebook. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for inviting me.
Thank you, thank you. It's so good to have you. And I want to thank our guest, Lady Chioma B. Kanu, for being there for us and sharing our time, our experience, and a whole wealth of knowledge. Thank you so much. Before I sign off, I got this messages from Nura, and it says it's sad and unfortunate that they have not been given priorities in terms of empowerment. And Nura again says many girls who were married early were divorced because of 60 naira bread. So sad, so sad. And thanks to everyone who joined us. I really must say I've learned a whole lot from Lady Choma. You can just see her wealth of knowledge, and she's been in the field for a long, long time, dealing with issues that affect humanity, not just for women and children, but she's always been there. Thank you all for joining us. This is the size of the Tuesday's edition. Let's do it again on Saturday, 2 p.m. West African time. My name is Ambassador Emmanuel Gabari. And please don't forget to also follow us on YouTube, subscribe to our YouTube channel, it's Shagalinku TV, and click on the notification button so that anytime we go live, you'll be notified on that. Thanks to everyone who joined, everyone who sent messages. God bless you all and have a beautiful Tuesday. Till I see you on Saturday. Bye bye and God bless.